What is up, guys? Today I'm going to be talking about endgame. What do you really want to play? There's a lot of different types of endgame these days in MMOs. Everyone is doing something different. For example, in Guild Wars 2, you have to level up in the fractals of the mist. At higher fractals, you're going to get ascended gear, which will give you agony resistance, which you will need at the higher levels so you won't get one shot by a mob. In the fractals of the mist, you don't have to be level 100 in order to go to level 100. As long as one person in the party is level 100, you can go there. So there is no gear rating, cutting content there. It will just be more helpful if you had more agony resistance. Most people think Legendaries in Guild Wars 2 is the end game, which they're not wrong, but with all the new skins that's coming out on the gem store, if your legendary doesn't have footsteps, it kind of gets overshadowed. And the new skins are less money and less time consuming, especially the ones in a gem store. I mean, I think legendaries need a little bit compensation, if you know what I mean. I'm just saying. I'm just part of the 1%. It is also considered that the whole game is considered endgame, and you should enjoy the leveling process through the areas and dungeons and jumping puzzles. And after you're done with that, Guild Wars 2 releases monthly events with the living story, which you can actually experience the world changing. But is that really enough? I mean, Guild Wars 2 has no sub fee, so it doesn't matter if you leave and come back every time a monthly event comes. Nowadays, players consume games like a black hole, like in that episode of Doctor Who. Once players reach level cap, they tend to complain that there's nothing to do in an MMO if there's not enough endgame content there. Why do you think they make most MMOs so grindy? They add the grind so you can keep playing the game, so you can keep spending more money on the game and keep them in business. So no one will complain that there's a lack of endgame, but they will be a grind. In a recent game that came out called Neverwinter, you have epic dungeons for endgame. Each epic dungeon has a gear rating. If your gear rating is low, you have to start at the low epic dungeons. And then from that epic dungeon, you get gear that higher ups your gear rating. From that, you move on to the next dungeon, and then over and over. And you have to farm the dungeons until you get the gear that you need to go to the next dungeon. It's a grind. It's pros and cons for each one. In Guild Wars 2, there will be, no grind. You don't have to worry about that. Well, unless you're going for a legendary. But you can just don't have to worry about stats in your equipment because everything is the same. All exotics, all the top gear is all the same stats. In Neverwinter, you grind dungeons and you can get higher gear than everyone else. And it seems to be more bragging rights, like, oh, I have the highest gear, than anything else. Back then, there was only one MMO to rule them all, World of Warcraft, but now there's all types of MMOs now, and games that, a lot of gamers have interest in. So developers have to work extra hard to keep players interested in their game to only play their game, or at least come back to it like Minecraft. Everyone goes back to Minecraft eventually. People pick up and drop games all the time now, between their phones to their consoles. I mean, not all people are like that. There's some hardcore gamers like me, where I remember I used to grind in MapleStory all the way up to 200, and that took months to do. Maybe even years. It's the same with RuneScape. You remember RuneScape back in the days? You old MMO players know what I'm talking about. RuneScape is the most grindiest game of the grindiest. I mean, you would spend hours trying to level up your wood cutting and just cut that wood, cut that hew wood over and over and over and over. I guess it's the satisfaction of being heavily rewarded with new areas or a new, in RuneScape, a new tree to cut. Yeah. In the upcoming MMO Wildstar, they're making the whole game based on endgame. Not the whole game, but most of the content starts at endgame. They actually only give you bits of the story and save it all for endgame. It's so much endgame that they renamed it Elder Game. There's no way people are going to be able to complain about lack of endgame content there. Well, someone is going to complain. Someone always does. In Neverwinter, they went with a different approach called the Foundry, where players can make their own adventures and share it with other people. Yes, you get loot. You can play all these and rate them as well, so you can actually play the higher rated Foundry quests. If players are tired of grinding the same dungeon, they can check out a Foundry quest and play with your friends. You know, I think user-generated content is a really good solution for people having nothing to do at endgame, because you have an unlimited supply of user-generated content. Well, you know, you have to have a community to support this though, and the game will have to actually be enjoyable. If anything, the success of Minecraft speaks for itself. The user-generated content is a good thing. It takes off a load off the developers, enable them to, you know, spend most of their time creating new content, right? And, you know, we can spend our time playing some really cool quests. There's some really good people out there that know how to mod a good quest with an awesome story. Anyways, what do you think about endgame? What keeps you playing an MMO? Let me know in the comment section below. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give me a like, share with your friends, leave a comment, say what's up in the comment section below. And stay visual.